Great good morning, everyone. My Picardo Jewelers watch tells me it is 9:11 and 42 seconds on this beautiful Friday, July 18th, 2025. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he. Broadcasting from the United States of America. I can prove it because we've got a president and some days a Congress that's actually looking out for Americans. It's also the place for the brave, like the veterans we lost this year, but honored today thanks to our man John Basiliga and one of his great companies, Basiliga Hospitality, the places to go this weekend. Well, these people have made us and kept us free. They include Kim Schooley, Leda, Virginia, but she grew up in the Wallenpaupack. John Butch Turpak, Scott Township. Robert Delascavage, Wilkes-Barre Township. Francis Catcher, Beaver Meadows, formerly of Hazleton. Jack Cosgrove, Pittston Township. And Joseph Levan, Bloomsburg. The United States of America, founded with a certain knowledge and understanding by our incredible, irreplaceable, amazing founding fathers, that government is not, shall not be, cannot be our parent, our guide, our direction, our salvation. Not any of these things, but is nothing more than a necessary evil we require to organize and protect society. The United States of America, the country where, for the first time in human history, freedom was declared to be an unalienable right granted to each individual by God. Freedom could not be parceled out to groups. Freedom could not be controlled by government or government officials, because our great American Constitution ensured and codified freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of association, economic freedom, and freedom of the press. Yeah, they could use it to lie. So what? Now, armed with these freedoms, and only because we had them, a ragtag bunch of immigrants, rejects, and their progeny created the richest, most powerful, most culturally diverse and accepting nation ever to grace our planet Earth. America, the only place specifically invented and designed so that every American can live their life in the manner they choose, unlimited by their background, upbringing, race, color, or creed, unhindered by the government or those who would use government to control others for their own comfort, benefit, or power. Good news, this Bob Cordaro Show will always be convincingly conservative, lovingly logical, proudly and passionately patriotic, and reliably right. And so, we gaveled order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising a sanctuary of sanity for all of you for the balance of the morning when you've got people who just proclaim the opposite of that which is true, and they do the opposite of that which they try to make you do. Yes. And a reminder, just a cautionary, it's not a safe harbor for stupidity. We will not suffer fools gladly. So a positive development sort of overnight into this morning. By the way, that was Mike Smerconish, who's a CNN analyst, an old law school buddy of mine. Victor Davis Hanson, the great Victor Davis Hanson. And then one of the founders of, was it Home Depot or the other one? Home Depot, Bulldog says. Ken Langone. And he was a Trump skeptic, which a lot of us were over the years and at different times. I was a Trump skeptic after January 6th and after his post-presidency, or actually the post-election portion of his presidency. But we all came around, and now you got guys like Ken Langone saying, oh my gosh, this is incredible. Incredible. And then we have Trump turning the corner, and I think starting to address this Jeffrey Epstein thing, which bothered a lot of us. And let's see what happens. I mean, it's not important in the scheme of things. It does overshadow the great things you're doing. We get that, Mr. President. But what we don't get is that we chose you in large part for the fact that you were going to open up all these things, and you said it repeatedly. And then, see, that's what I'm saying, Trump, he's got a selective memory. He forgot, at the White House. Do you remember several months ago, they handed out these binders, Pam Bondi and Trump, to all these conservative podcasters and influencers. And in the binder at the end, it said, more to come. So, you promised it. And by the way, the funny part is, this is the amazing, the Democrats don't care if they get lied to, Democrat voters, I should say. The dedicated Democrat voter, for whatever inconceivable reason, they don't care if they're lied and made a fool of right to their face on a myriad of issues. They don't, well, not on myriad issues. They don't care. I don't know why. It perplexes me. It confounds me. But when Trump or any one of our people, a conservative, goes against something they've said and that we thought they believed, we get angry and we call them on it. And that's why I said we're not the cult. Quite obviously, they are. And Trump got so much guff from a lot of people down from this level all the way up that he has relented, and we'll see if, but so we're still going to wait for the proof in the pudding. Now you've got us being skeptical of this whole situation, and we'll see what happens. But I thought that was a good development. I was happy for it, very happy for it. All right, we've got to take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK, a lot to talk about today. I almost say, sadly, it's a Friday, which means another week has whisked by us. We got a lot to talk about. David DeCosmo's coming on today. And he's going to talk about his role and his coverage of the when Ted Kennedy killed Mary Jo Kopechne. Make it clear he did. And then we've got more, we've got Maria Batista. She's the Superior Court candidate for the Republican Party. And we've had her on last year. For some reason, she didn't call in the spring. But she won the primary anyway, and now she'll be with us sometime this morning. We're looking forward to that. And much more. Much more. We'll take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. We will return. The great Roy Orbison. Murph tells us this date, 1960, his first single, Only the Lonely, moved up to number 5. That means people went to record stores and bought it. A couple of texts. Bob, have you seen Gavin Newsom? Yeah, he went on the Sean Ryan podcast. And the listener continues, he just epitomized what Democrats think and are. He couldn't give a straight answer, even to 8 years old as being too young for sex change. And I watched it, and I'm like, what? I couldn't believe it. You're right. He's a sick person. Unbelievable. And he said just yesterday, Gavin Newsom apologized for being white. Oh, this is Tom from Dallas. Tom, it's unbelievable. Tom also points out Jeffrey Epstein's lawyer came out and said there is no client list, or we would have used it to get his client less time. I don't think there is, but I think there is information. Maybe and not in one place. It's going to be, and that's why. But remember, this is a self-inflicted wound. They were the ones who told us we were going to hear all about Jeffrey Epstein. Trump told us. His attorney general, Pam Bondi, told us. So it's not like, and that's why I said, Trump, I get his stuff. I get his act. But, like, don't get angry at us because we're questioning you, Donald. You're the one who elevated the entire issue. You could have said nothing about it. I'm fighting with Chauncey here. He wants to chew on stuff. I'm gonna beat him up. Anyway, yeah. So they better straighten this out, because when you've got a group of people who rode through the storm with you, Trump, and then you don't live up to what you promised, well, you're going to catch hell. Pam Bondi catching most of the flack, and frankly, deservedly so. Remember, when they handed out those binders, it was after they were already in office. So you have to assume they had whatever information there was accessible to them. Did you not read it? What did you miss? And then come forth and say, well, we were 100% wrong. As we went into it, we realized there's a lot of names in here that didn't have anything to do with the sexual escapades and depravity of Jeffrey Epstein and his cohorts. And they're going to get smeared, and we don't want to do that. Well, okay. But tell us the ones who did. What, you can't talk about Prince Edward? You can't talk about Bill Clinton? I want to know. So we'll see. And now remember what they've offered, because let's not get carried away. They've offered to go to court, and you've heard Alan Dershowitz. Dershowitz has said he can't talk about a lot of this because of various court orders. Bondi's going to go to court, this is what she said, to release the grand jury testimony against Jeffrey Epstein. Now, that doesn't solve every problem by any means. It was the basis upon which his arrest was made. Now, very important to note, the arrest of Jeffrey Epstein was made during the Trump administration. It's not like they didn't see this or have access to it. That's what makes it perplexing. He was arrested in 2019. He killed himself in 2019. And I've said this, number one, I spent over 6.5 months in what you would call the hole. It's called Special Housing Unit, the SHU. At various times, that's what I spent, 6.5 months. I know a little bit about how it operates. And nobody comes and checks on you. They come and do the count. That's it. They count to see if you're there. That's it. And those counts are done. Could you believe you're forgetting this? Your whole day was guided around this. I know about 10 a.m., 4 p.m., I think it's about 10 p.m. It depends a little bit on the prison, 9:30 to 10 o'clock. And then overnight, they'll do it once or twice. Plenty of time to kill yourself, by the way. Plenty of time to do whatever you want in that cell, particularly when you're alone. And you're talking about a guy this is the part I'll fight with you on. The other stuff, look at you. Feel free to speculate. But you're talking about a guy who went from the lifestyle of a king. He knew he was caught. He knew he was finished. He was a sex addict. He had to have sex multiple times a day. And so he paid for it, and he got it. And now that was all over. So everything that drove his life had ended completely, period. There was no way out. People who say, oh, he was smart lawyers. No. He was caught dead. And he was going to be in prison the rest of his life. And all these things that drove this sick mind were gone forever. And he killed himself. And he was ingenious enough to do it. And yeah, does it share some common characteristics with a murder? Of course. His neck was broken. He figured out how to lean forward and fall forward with sheets around his neck. And that broke his neck. And it deprived him of oxygen simultaneously. Okay. That's the part I give no quarter on. What's in this investigation or in these files, I don't think there's a list. You don't compile a list of the people you're blackmailing, especially when you know they're investigating you. You get rid of the list. And by the way, maybe a guy that smart could remember the list. Do you think he actually had to write down, Bill Clinton, 3 times he knew what he was doing. Leslie Wexner. Yeah, I think he could keep it in his head. Leslie Wexner paid me $250 million on what? Silliness. It does appear to be a combination blackmail / favor deal that he got paid for and that he got wealthy for. I don't think he had any particular genius in investing or anything like that. But let us see what comes out of the grand jury information if they get it. Somebody said, good morning, Bob, LTS. I have to say the Epstein crap is a distraction from many more important issues. One is the World Health Organization taking control of American sovereignty tomorrow, June 19th. The U.S. and 94 other nations in the world let them control outbreaks like pandemics and kickdowns. Not sure what that is. This is opposed to our Constitution. I didn't know that went through. But let's see. A lot of other texts to get to. A lot of other things to get to. Bob Cordaro, WILK. We got to check out on that World Health Organization. I know the Biden administration wanted to do it, but I thought they hadn't. And I didn't think they got congressional approval to make us submit to that. So I could be corrected that we're not under the auspices of World Health Organization for pandemics. We'll see. We'll keep looking into it. I don't think Trump would swallow that at all in any way, shape, or form. Let's hear from our great sponsors. We'll come back, hear about a couple of our great veterans, do the weather, and then you. 570-883-0098. My Picardo Jewelers watch tells me it's 9:34 on the nose. Our veterans this hour and every hour, this day and every day. Brought to you by our man, John Basiliga. The Basiliga brand spans numerous companies, but since it's the weekend, let's talk about Basiliga Hospitality. 3 great bar restaurants. I mean great. Try them out. Beautiful. Old Brook Inn, 307, Springbrook Township. Far Street Tavern on Far Street in the Great Trips Park section of West Scranton. Queen City Tavern, downtown Oliphant, right on the main drag. Fine dining, yep. Atera 519, the class of restaurants in the Northeast. The Stegmeyer, the incredible mansion converted not just into event space, great place to have your wedding or whatever, but a great place to dine, the Stegmeyer Mansion. And guess what? Sergey's Live, the nightclub. It'll be booming tonight. You want to see a movie over the weekend? Scranton Art House, downtown Scranton, Lackawanna Avenue. John Butch Turpak. He was 76 when he died on June 28th, surrounded by family. Born in Carbondale, resident of Scout Township for over 50 years. His favorite memories included swimming at the tunnel over the lane. That's just the way we talk around here. Picking blueberries and hitchhiking to Chapman Lake. He served us by joining the Marine Corps in 1968. Paris Island, Camp Lejeune, Camp Pendleton, Fukushima, Okinawa, and finally Arlington, Virginia during his time as a Marine. He worked at Clark Summit State Hospital and Cascade Tissue before retirement. A hunter, an avid fisherman. Always had a joke for everyone he met. Member of the great Marine Corps League here in Scranton and the American Legion post in Mayfield. He was married to the love of his life, Mary Ellen, for 51 years, also surviving 3 wonderful children and 2 beautiful granddaughters. John Butch Turpak. Kim Schooley. She was 68 when she passed May 23rd. She passed away as a resident of Manassas, Virginia. She was born in Suffern, New York, but the family moved here, and she was a graduate of Wallen-Paulpack Area High School. Class of 74, excelled in athletics, softball being her favorite. Went on to the University of Miami, graduating with a BS degree in geology and mineral science. She then joined our Air Force, in the fall of 78 as a second lieutenant. She served as officer of supply operations, petroleum fuels, and instructional systems in the U.S., Japan, Egypt, and Bosnia. Meritorious Service Medal, National Defense Service Medal, Air Force Commendation Medal, Outstanding Unit Ribbon, Organizational Excellence, Air Force Overseas Long Tour, and longevity service. She had joined in 78. She retired as a lieutenant colonel in 2004. She joined a company called Techniserve, became owner and partner of the company, which provided software, web design, and services to clients throughout the East until it was sold in 2023 when she retired. She played sports throughout her career in the Air Force, but her great joy was cooking. Family says she was an indefatigable debater and stayed current on national and international events, loved history, quick wit, biting sense of humor. She's survived by her partner 25 years, Nancy Gardner of Manassas. 2 sisters, nieces, survived by adopted children and her children and their children, her grandchildren, and 7 great-grandchildren. Kim Schooley. Our great veterans this hour, brought to you by John Basiliga and the incredible properties of Basiliga Hospitality. Storm Tracker 16 forecast meteorologist Joe Snedeker. Today, sunny, less humid and cooler. High 78, 67 outside the studio at the moment. Tonight, partly cloudy, 57. Saturday, sunny with a chance of thunderstorms developing late in the evening, 85. Sunday, clouds with showers and thunderstorms, some partial clearing in the afternoon, 85. Now, somebody texted in. They said, I hope you and Cutie and Chauncey have a good weekend. And is Chauncey getting paid for coming to work? No, I'm deducting. I'm actually deducting from his snack allotment for his little misbehaviors. He's quite a handful. So we got something to play. The Rolling Stones. Murph says they hit the charts this date, 1964. That was in the U.S. with their first single, their version of Buddy Holly's Not Fade Away. Bob Cordaro back on the program. That was, believe it or not, Morning Joe. Morning Joe questioning scumbag Jamie Raskin. Like, okay, everybody had a shot at this. Nobody released it. Now, all of a sudden, it has something to do with Trump. And as if they wouldn't have released the Epstein files related to Trump and destroyed the other stuff. It's people, the lowest lives on the planet were in charge of that information for 4 full years. So I believe Trump in essence, but there's so much that needs to be disclosed regardless. And let us make a decision. All right? Let's do it that way. Let's go to Charles from Scott Township. Your church is having a car show.
Yeah, thanks, Bob, for taking my call. I just wanted to let everybody know it's our first car show. It's out in the Christian Community Bible Church out past Heart Lake. It's about maybe not even a mile past Heart Lake. And they're going to have, cookout burgers and hot dogs and all other kinds of food and ice cream and a cornhole competition. There's going to be a lot of nice things going on. I think a raffle, too. But, I mean, it's going to be a nice event. So I just wanted to
let everybody know. What time, and can you nail down the specific location and the time?
Oh, yeah, Route 107, Scott Township, Heart Lake, just past Heart Lake. If you go up to Heart Lake, come to the stop sign, and heading towards Sleetville, and you just go down maybe a half mile, I think maybe a mile on the right-hand side. You can't miss it.
What's the name?
Church is right here.
That's what they all say.
Community Bible Church.
Charles, that's what they all say. You can't miss it. Give us the church again.
Community Bible Church. It's at 10 o'clock, from 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock.
Okay. Great. That's neat. That's absolutely neat. Are you going to have a car there? Displaying a car?
No. I'm going to be. I'm a lot attendant. No, I'm not a guy. My dad was. He was the guy that found Coal Crackers Car Club in Carbondale, but he passed away a couple. I'm a guitar guy. My thing is guitars.
How about that?
I'm a musician. I love guitars. I love getting old guitars from the '60s.
How many do you have? How many do you have, Charles?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe I don't even know. I'm going to say about at least a dozen. Or 10, 12. My favorite one is I have a Martin, beautiful Martin C15, all 100% mahogany. It's absolutely beautiful. And my other favorite, that's my favorite acoustic. My favorite electric is a 1966 Hagström, Swedish electric guitar. And absolutely love it, and beautiful. 1966, I got that. I was about 14 years old. And now I'm going to be 71, so I had it quite some time.
How neat. How neat. All right, so the church is on, the event is on Route 107. And what is your church's name again?
Community Bible Church.
On Route 107, past Heart Lake, and you'll see it on the right.
Exactly.
10 to 2.
Yep.
All right, great stuff.
Oh, it's going to be a wonderful time. Wonderful time. A lot of stuff. Like I said, you come in here, you're hungry. You're going to be burgers. There's going to be hot dogs. There'll be ice cream. All kinds of other things too. It's going to be a really nice. Really nice. We're looking forward to it.
Good stuff. All right. Well, thank you, Charles.
And, you bet, Bobby. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
We'll have to talk about that guitar selection someday. Not that I know anything about it. I'm just always curious why people collect things and what they collect.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not making that to hold you up, but I mean, the Hagström, the Swedish guitar in 1966, I actually sold that to a friend of mine when I was 16 years old, and 27 years later, another friend of mine, a bass player in a band, was playing one night, And the first time I seen him in 27 years, and he told me, he goes, you know the guitar you sold to Eugene? He goes, I got that now. And then he came back down, and he goes, guess what? That's your guitar, he said, right? And he goes, I'll sell it back to you for what I paid for it, the original case, the strap, and everything. So I bought it. So after 27 years, I got my old buddy back.
Now, is it one of those things you play, or you just look at it?
No, I play all my guitars.
Oh, nice.
I'm a player, you know. Yeah, I play a variety of stuff, but I'm mostly a blues guy. I really like to play the blues.
Oh, neat.
You know, but I play up at church every Sunday morning. I bring my classical guitar, my nylon string guitar, and play up there every Sunday morning at that church.
How great is that?
And yeah. You know, it's a God-given gift, you know, and I just love music. I love all kinds of music. I get up every morning and I listen to I get on YouTube and listen to Bach concertos. I like Bach and I like Antonio Vivaldi. But anyways, Bob, thanks a lot.
Two
Appreciate
great
you.
things.
Have a good day. God
Charles,
bless.
have a great time tomorrow. All right, man.
You bet. Thank you. God bless.
All right. Bloomberg Money Minute, because my Picardo Jewelers watch tells me it's 9:50. We'll be back. You go out at 10 o'clock. That's when you go out. I'm talking to Chauncey, and Bulldog turned the mic on. David DeCosmo coming up in the next hour on this anniversary of the certainly manslaughter of Mary Jo Kopechne, Kingston native. And David covered it and was in the middle of it quite a bit. So we're going to talk to him about that. We try to talk to him about it every year on this anniversary. And so as we head into the top of the hour, Slick says, Bob, LTS, I've never really felt this way about any politician. I can't stand certain ones, but Newscomb is the worst. And I can't even listen to him speak. He's disgusting. He really is. He's a sickening disgrace. And he's presided over the destruction of San Francisco. And now, in his second term as governor, he served as lieutenant governor as well. Absolute, like, the destruction of California parallels his involvement. And somehow, by the way, he got fabulously wealthy in the midst of all this. Public service and his aunt, Nancy Pelosi, yeah. They're all the same family. Adam Schiff's in there. Wow, what a disgraceful. By the way, there was a Senate panel, the Judiciary panel, and they walked out yesterday. And I thought, there is not a more disgraceful, disgraceful group of people, the Democrat senators. It's unbelievable. Cory Booker. What's the Hawaii senator? Oh, my God. Sheldon Whitehouse. Scum. Joe Biden's buddy, Coons from Delaware. Liar. Unbelievable. I said, wow. By the way, Joe wanted to know LTS every day. Thank you, Joe, and back at you. Do you want to tell us why you were in the shoe? Just curious, meaning special housing unit. Well, there's a lot of ways to get in there. Fighting, disobeying, and contraband. And I was guilty of all three at various times during my stay. But why are you there? Because they want you there. That's the answer. Everybody's doing something. What they do about it depends. And as I found out when I went to Allenwood after getting kicked out of Fort Dix, they said, you've been helping a lot of people with their legal work. Now, we can't prove you've been getting paid, but you've been causing problems. Helping people with stuff. I said, I never would take money. I never did. And I would tell the person, I will review anything. I'll give you any advice you want, but I'm not doing your legal work for you because I'm doing mine first. Yours will take second place no matter what. And that means I won't do as good a job for you as I will for me. So I'm not doing it. So don't try to pay me. Don't try to reward me. Don't give me fish. Don't give me stamps. But it bothered them so much, believe it or not, that I was not taking money for helping people who caused them problems, legal problems, and legitimate ones, by the way. That was really, and it's time to go. But a funny story, quick story. Because I was a lawyer and all this, everybody wanted me to be their clerk, which means you do all the work for whoever the cop is, who's in charge of whatever. So I'm sitting in this office, and they just started me, and the cop comes over to me, he goes, hey, would you like to file these? And he throws a bunch of papers. I said, no. And he was in the process of walking away. He said, what did you say? I said, no. He says, I want you to file them. You have to file them. I said, okay, in that case, I'll file them. But you asked me if I want to. and the relationships would deteriorate from there. That's why I was in the hole for 6.5 months for things like that. All right, we'll take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. It is news time. And if you go to Bocardo Jewelers, an incredible store, amazing selection of jewelry, the watch store, Breitling, Oris, Longines, Michelle, Shinola, Luminox, Swiss Army. It is your watch store. And they tell me the time is 10:03 on the nose. We'll be back. Great good morning, everyone. My Bacardo Jewelers watch tells me it's 10:10 a.m. here in the great Northeast this beautiful Friday, July 18th, 2025. This is the Bob Cordaro Show, and I am he. It's a big day to fight for America, defend our values. And with the help of our man, John Basiliga, and one of his companies, Basiliga Hospitality, to honor the brave who have made us and kept us free. People like the veterans we've lost this year, but celebrate this day thanks to John. Like John Butch Turpak. He's from Scott Township. Kim Schooley, Manassas, Virginia, but she grew up in Wallen-Paulpack area. Robert Delascavage, Wilkes-Barre Township. Francis Catcher, Beaver Meadows, formerly of Hazleton. Jack Cosgrove, Pittston Township. And Joseph Levan, Bloomsburg. So with history, our great founding fathers, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle. Gaveling back to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense. Well, you hear the March of the Cue Balls, and that means it's David DeCosmo time. Because in 1969, this date, U.S. Senator Edward M. Kennedy, he left a party on Chappaquiddick Island near Martha's Vineyard with Mary Jo Kopechne of this area. Sometime later, Kennedy's car went off the bridge into the water. Kennedy escapes. Kopechne drowns. And fortunately, the scandal dogged Kennedy the rest of his life because he earned it. But here is our man, David DeCosmo, who played a role in this whole deal, and we're happy he's with us. How are you, David? Welcome back to the Bob Cordaro Show.
Thank you, Bob. Doing just fine, and, of course, bringing back memories today from 56 years ago.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, and of course, the news hit nationally very quickly because Senator Kennedy was involved, but of course it was tremendously interesting here because the victim was, in fact, from our area, Mary Jo Kopechne, and the story is just surrounded in controversy. I think there's probably still as much controversy about this accident and Senator Ted Kennedy as there was about the assassination of his brother, John F. Kennedy.
Yeah.
And that's because, and I mean, he caused some of this himself. He caused the controversy himself because this accident happened sometime after midnight or around midnight on July 18th, which was a Friday night in 1969. And as your news report you recounted suggested, it wasn't reported for 10 hours later. Kennedy said that he was on this island, Chappaquiddick Island. He was at a party involving 6 men and 6 women, all who had been campaigning for his brother Bobby Kennedy, who was seeking the presidential Democratic nomination. And, of course, he, too, was was assassinated. And Kennedy leaves this party with Mary Jo Kopechne in his car. This car is spotted at an intersection on the island by a local police officer who thinks that they may have some trouble. He gets out of his car and starts walking over, and the car speeds away. At the time that happened, Kennedy claimed later that the accident had already happened. Well, obviously it hadn't, because the police officer saw the car. In any case, he heads toward this small, wooden, very ill-constructed bridge over what they call a tidal pond. The car doesn't make the proper turn onto that bridge, which probably was quite a task even in daylight, goes into the water. Kennedy gets out of the car. Now, it's never been explained to me or offered as an explanation as to how he got out. But he did get out of the car. Claims that he dove back down in the water several times, but was unable to get back in or open the car to allow Miss Kopechne to escape.
But there had to be a place where he got out.
It had to be. It had to. Somehow he got out.
Yeah.
He walks back to the scene of the party, gets his cousin and a trusted associate to come back to the scene. They claimed that they dove down, unsuccessfully trying to extricate her. They drive back to the ferry, which gets you to this island. It's closed for the night. Kennedy decides he's going to swim across. Now, it's not a far swim. I've seen it. Theoretically, the distance I could do, but on the other hand, you're talking about tidal waters too. So, but Kennedys were all very good swimmers. I mean, they lived and trained on water.
And they swam well drunk too.
Yeah, well, look at how well John Kennedy swam when he actually saved one of the guys from the PT-109 incident. They literally carry him with his teeth around.
By the way, David, we went on a family vacation up there. We saw that bridge. My recollection of it, it was a wooden bridge. It was not much wider than one car length. And it had a little, I guess it wouldn't be a rail because it was only 2 or 3 inch rise on either side of it. Of wood. Very easy.
The size of a curb.
Exactly. Like a curb, only built in wood as part of the bridge. And, man, you could drive off that sober. But
absolutely.
I doubt Teddy was.
Yeah. Now that bridge has all been replaced, by the way.
Yeah.
It's got a modern railing on it now and everything. But in any case, we get back to the accident. We see that he swims across. He goes. Now I'm going to say he allegedly goes to his hotel, spends the night, gets out and starting to have breakfast when the cousin and the associate come over. Say, you got to report this. And he finally did. Now, I said allegedly because, Bob, if you have the time, if anybody has the time, there is a great documentary on this incident done by the BBC, and it's on Netflix. There is a claim on that documentary that sometime during those early morning hours, Kennedy flew back to Hyannis, probably chatted with father and other, members of the Brain Trust, and then flew back. There's a pilot who I have not been able to find his name, but supposedly confessed to having taken him there. This is all allegedly, so I don't know, but it strikes me when I saw the documentary that I was flabbergasted that might have happened, and yet I'm thinking, hey, that's something that someone who's really thinking of what's going on might do. In any case, there's a great movie, Chappaquiddick. It recalls all of this, and it is fairly accurate as to the known facts.
Yeah.
But where that movie ended, our role begins again.
Well, let us take a break at that point, and let's come back because David DeCosmo is part of a pivotal series of events in the Chappaquiddick controversy. He is our guest. We'll take a break, and we'll be back with David DeCosmo after this. That's a cute one. Roger Miller. Murph says he moved up to number 7 this date, 1964, with his hit, Dang Me. Bob Cordaro back on the program. Tom from Dallas says the movie Chappaquiddick on Netflix was so well done.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and then somebody else said she did not drown, she suffocated. We're getting to that point, so thank you. Our audience is always on top of it, David. They really are. So let's get to the crux of the David DeCosmo involvement, which I find as interesting as the story itself.
Well, Bob, Mary Jo was buried without an autopsy. The medical examiner, basically a doctor on Chappaquiddick Island, said that she drowned. The scuba diver that retrieved the body said no, she was in an air pocket. She suffocated. 2 of the questions involving the crash. There are, of course, a lot more. The district attorney for the Southern District of Massachusetts, Edmund Denise, wants to have the body exhumed so that an autopsy can be done, and whatever medical tests might stem from that. The parents, Mary Jo's parents, objected. Well, Denise has to come to Luzerne County to ask for the exhumation because she's buried here. His argument was that the people who were on the island, the deputy sheriff who saw the car, an hour before the time that Kennedy said that the crash occurred, people who lived there said there's only one road that goes to the ferry boat, and everybody who's ever been on the island knows where that is, and this isn't on that road.
Yeah.
So he wants the body exhumed, and Senator Kennedy gave a speech a couple days after this, a national speech, giving his account of what he said happened. Well, that didn't always match what some of these local witnesses said. So in order to pursue his case, he has to play what Kennedy had to say. Well, for some reason, ABC TV refused to give him the video of the speech. I was the news director, WILK, at the time. I called WBZ in Boston, and I got an audio copy of that speech.
On your own. Nobody asked you to do this.
Well,
right?
the assistant DA and I were leaving the courthouse, and I was bugging him. I said, "You're always thinking about TV and never think about radio." He said, "You mean the speech was on radio?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Do you have it?" I said, "No." He said, "Do you think you can get it?" I said, "Yes." And so I did, which I guess was both a blessing and a curse, because when the district attorney found out I had the tape, he said, and this is a quote, "You are my 9th inning home run." But they had to call me to the stand, which as a 26-year-old reporter was a little bit nerve-wracking. An international case, you're being sketched by artists.
How did they send it to you, David? I mean, technology is not what it is. They didn't email it to you.
They played their tape on the telephone. My telephone was connected to a recorder, and we recorded it.
Amazing.
And I had to get back to the courthouse before it was done. When they brought it over, they didn't bring it to me. They brought it to the judge. He stops the proceedings.
Bernard Brominski, correct?
Yeah, and he said, "Dave, when I see you a second." I'm thinking, why is he calling me up here? Why is he stopping everything calling me? And he said, "What's this about a tape they brought to me?" I said, "Oh, Your Honor, it wasn't supposed to come to you. It was supposed to come to me." But in any case, I had to play that tape as part of. So I was the final witness in the exhumation case. Now, as it happens, although there were a lot of suspicions, there was no obvious criminality involved in any of the testimony that was offered. Being that there was nothing obvious in the way of criminality, the parental wishes took precedent. They did not want the body exhumed, and so it was not.
And by the way, Teddy Kennedy was not subject to subpoena in the state of Pennsylvania. So
he was not.
So he wasn't.
Now remember, he did face a hearing and an inquest in Massachusetts, but the end result of that was he had his driver's license suspended. I believe that he received some jail sentence as well, which was immediately suspended. So there was no, other than mental anguish, which we assume anybody that's involved in someone's death would have to live with. There was no long-lasting fine or penalty for this, and the questions remain unanswered to this day. Yeah.
Well, David DeCosmo, he was there. He was in the middle of this action. Oh, man. By the way, quickly, David, you've told me in the past that the parents regretted their decision to not conduct the autopsy.
Which was a complete about-face again, because initially they thought they wanted it done. Then they decided no. And then later on, one of their relatives told me that they had second thoughts about it, but it was way too late at that point in time. And the bottom line, I said he only faced suspended license and everything. Let me retract that. He faced loss of the presidency because he could have been president of the United States. There was the Kennedy name alone would have gotten him so many votes, perhaps even sympathy votes concerning this. But actually, so many people had questions about this that it almost undoubtedly cost him certainly the nomination, if not the presidency.
So something good did come out of it. Yeah.
Well, depends on how you look at it, I guess.
Yes. Well, David DeCosmo, thank you so much. Appreciate it always. The anniversary of Chappaquiddick and David
Thank
DeCosmo.
you, Bob.
They go together like salt and pepper.
Hey, hope all your news is good, buddy.
All right. Thank you. We'll take a break. It is 10:32 on my Picardo Jeweler watch. We'll be back. Our veterans this hour and every hour, this day and every day. Brought to you by our man, John Basiliga, and one of his great companies, Basiliga Hospitality, as we approach this weekend. 3 bar restaurants that you just have to try and you'll be sold. The Old Brook Inn, 307 Springbrook Township. 2 bars, fine dining, great bar food, the whole package. 307 Springbrook. Far Street Tavern, same thing. It's a reimagined neighborhood bar in the Great Trips Park section of West Scranton. Queen City Tavern, completely redone. You go in, you'll be amazed. Outdoor dining, the whole package. Queen City Tavern. Robert Delescavage. He was 83. He was from Wilkes-Barre Township. He died June 24th with his loving family by his side at Wilkes-Barre General. Born in Wilkes-Barre Township, graduate of Wilkes-Barre Township High School. He attended King's College, and he served us in the United States Marine Corps Reserves. Employed at Foster Wheeler in Mountaintop, then SCI Dallas. He then retired from Luzerne County Transportation Authority, where he served as supervisor of the bus division. He served on the Wilkes-Barre Township Council and was mayor for 2 terms. Remember the Wilkes-Barre Township American Legion post? He leaves behind his loving wife of 62 years, the former Mary Ann Turinsky, his sons, his grandsons, nieces, nephews, and numerous dear friends. Robert Delescavage. Francis Catcher, Beaver Meadows. He was 85 when we lost him June 25th. Born in Hazleton, graduate of Hazleton High School. That's where he met and later married Patricia Kukowski back in 1964. He was a member of the Silver Beavers Drum and Bugle Corps out of Beaver Meadows as a youth. He then served us in the U.S. Air Force Reserves, helping load planes in various locations, including Hawaii for the Vietnam War effort. Lover of history, fan of President Harry S. Truman. Throughout his life, he worked at Hazel Builders, Johns Manville, Longacre Chicken and Turkey, and in wastewater treatment. Red Check, Apple, City of Allentown, City of Easton, Kidder Township, Greater Hazleton Joint Sewer Authority. But he was most proud of his work at the former RCA facility in Mountaintop, where they produced semiconductors and contributions to the U.S. space program. He retired at age 82. Francis Catcher was a proud Slovak American, member of St. John BC Church in Hazleton. Tragically preceding him in death was an infant son, Robert, back in 1966. But he's survived by his beloved wife, Patricia, daughters, a son, grandchildren, and other family members. Francis Catcher. He finished his obit with these words: "But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint." Francis Catcher. Our great veterans this hour, brought to you by John Basiliga and the great properties known as Basiliga Hospitality. Oh, that means the weather. Storm Tracker 16 forecast from our man, meteorologist Joe Snedeker. Today, sunny, less humid and cooler, about 78, 66 out the studios right now. Tonight, partly cloudy, 57. Saturday, sunny with a chance of thunderstorms developing late in the evening, but before that, it's going to be about 85 degrees. Sunday, clouds with showers and thunderstorms, some partial clearing in the afternoon, 85 degrees. The Beach Boys. Murph tells us this date, 1966, they released their hit, Wouldn't It Be Nice? Bob Cordaro back with you on the eponymous program. Love having DeCosmo on. He's just great, isn't he? My gosh. He's an institution himself. And got to know him really well when I was minority commissioner, and he was covering Lackawanna County. And some days he would say, "You got a story?" I said, "Damn right I do." Anyway, July 18th, Mother Teresa, St. Teresa. She says, abandonment is an awful poverty. There are poor people everywhere, but the deepest poverty is not being loved. Well, they provided love and sustenance for the poor of India, which, again, like Calcutta, I'm telling you, and it bears repeating, no matter what your experiences with poverty, you may never have seen anything like what she lived amongst and dealt with. Amazing stuff. All right, so our friend Charlie Spano is on. We've got this great presentation for the return of the Civil War sword. Charlie, welcome back. How are you?
Thank you, Bob. Thank you for taking my call. Just wanted to pass along an invitation and a reminder. The GAR Museum was successful in its fundraising efforts to get enough funds to purchase the Civil War sword belonging to a Scranton native who fought in the Union Army, fought through many major battles, and died during the siege of Petersburg, Virginia in 1865. Lieutenant Ezra Griffin was born in what was Providence and what is now North Scranton. His sword has been returned to us at the GAR Museum, and we will have an official ceremony on Sunday, July 20th at 2 p.m. on the second floor of the mall by Crunch. The public is invited. We'll have some period music, and we'll have some speeches, and we'll have some snacks, tea, and lemonade. And everyone is invited.
Fascinating. Great stuff, Charlie. And you're always in the middle of some great project, and we love it. And so happy you could come on the air. Sunday at 2 o'clock at the Marketplace at Steamtown, right near Crunch, which you can't miss. Really good stuff. And thank you for all your work on this, Charlie.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you for the time.
All right, my man. Yeah, good stuff. Hey, all right, Bulldog, should we take Lorraine before or after? She's got a poem. All right, let's get her in there. Let's play the theme song because she insists on it. And here she is, the diva, the woman with fans, Lorraine from Hazleton. Lorraine, I have to take it back. Now, he didn't tell me, but I know this. My man Mark Mayer, he is a fan of yours. So when I mocked you for saying you're fans, you have at least one.
Well, I had that other one that texted that day.
All right.
Yeah, if Mark Mayer tells you, then you know it's gospel.
Yes, it is. Executive producer of the show.
That's right. That's right. Thank you, Mark.
Well, Chauncey's here, and he's, sort of whining and moaning, so I guess he wants to hear the poem.
Well, he knows who his master is. Okay.
What do you got?
Marty. Okay. It's called They're Only Words. Love ya, love ya. Are these only empty words? Or are they sentiments that come straight from your heart? You better be careful how they are expressed, because someone's spirits can be torn apart. If your spoken love is meant to appease someone, then it is something that can be very unkind. Please remember that some people are starved for love, and we live in a world that love is sometimes hard to find. People have to be careful not to fall for a smooth talker. They may seem interested in anyone who comes along. Quite often, things are not what they appear to be. For now, you may have to be alone and better off staying strong.
Nice.
Thank.
Do you remember when you wrote that?
Oh, that was just not too long ago.
Oh, okay. So we're
Maybe.
still producing. I like that.
Maybe 2 months. Yep.
Do you feel you're getting better at the poems, or does it matter on about the wave of sentiment that comes across that compels you to write?
It varies, and I've always been better. There you go. Talk about. So there you go. I can't tell the difference because it all flows into one big better.
Well, our pleasure as always, Lorraine. Have a peaceful, nice weekend, would you please?
Well, I'll try.
All right, don't get in any
try.
trouble. I don't have my law license, so don't get in any trouble.
Yeah, well.
Huh?
Hey, listen. When I told that joke about the hokey pokey, well, you should know a lot about the pokey. There you go.
All right, we'll get her off before she gets really nasty. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, Fuzzy Wuzzy.
Thank you, Lorraine.
So long.
We'll be back. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. Frida Payne moved up to number 4, Murph says, with Band of Gold. This date, 1970. Bob Cordaro back. A couple of you, including Chris from Hazleton, says, reminding me that Stephen Colbert got his walking papers. And as one of you asked in a text, how do you stay on the air when you have regular nightly guests like Rachel Maddow? That's not what late night TV was meant. It was supposed to be entertainment. I know. He is just a complete goof. And so his show's canceled, but I mean, they're letting him go out with sort of glory. They're not replacing him on a nightly entertainment show. One of the things that happened, the audiences were dwindling. And then they go with the left-wing radicalism. Boy, does it parallel our newspapers? The left-wing lunacy and stupidity and just the lying about politics to suit a narrative, which they just weren't even trying to be funny anymore. And the interesting thing about Colbert, I guess it's funny, like funny ha-ha, is that Stephen Colbert had a previous show. First, he was on a number of things, just guest spots on Curb Your Enthusiasm. I mean, he was a really funny guy before he went mentally ill. And he had a show, I forget what the heck it was called. Maybe Stephen Colbert, I don't even know. But he'd have this show, and he was mocking a conservative. That was like his shtick for the show. And I mean, he was, I'm a conservative. I thought it was hilarious. I read his book, I Am America. I mean, I bought his book too. I mean, he was great. And then he just turned into this complete left-wing lunatic, buffoon, and liar. And I'm like, come on. Who wants that? Nobody wants that. Well, not enough people. And then, people were wedded to the late night thing from Johnny Carson even. And so you had 3 late nights. Jimmy Kimmel, who's just as odious and should be canceled. He's harmless but hapless on NBC. Who was that? What was that guy? Whatever. It's not important. Well, who's the top-rated late-night talk show? Greg Gutfeld. You go on Fox News at 10 o'clock at night, you want to see funny political comedy? That's it. It's a great show. Like, beyond watchable, it's enjoyable. Not this idiot. So he's going to be leaving in about a year. No, I wish sooner. I wish it was whatever. But remember, they've got to protect their left-wingers. Left-wingers and left-wingers. Chauncey, get out of there. Sorry. I brought in a bone yesterday, like one of his toys to chew on yesterday. And he didn't chew on it. He was trying to chew on pens and all kinds of stuff. Now today he's trying to chew on whatever else is on the floor. It's useless to bring a bone in. Anyway, he's being generally well behaved. But it's just good to see him go and that he's going to leave and that this left-wing talk show host experiment has failed utterly and completely, and that a conservative-leaning, normal talk show host like Greg Gutfeld, who's genuinely funny, whose show is genuinely funny, is succeeding. Like 3.5 million viewers on Fox Cable, Fox News Cable versus network. I mean, it's amazing. All right, we'll take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK, and my Bacardo Jewelers And it's a Picardo watch, tells me. But they've got Breitling, Oris, Longines, Michelle, Shinola, Luminox, and Swiss Army. Our watch store time, it is 11 o'clock and 40 seconds. We'll be back after the news. Well, a third Biden official has pled the fifth, meaning that they think they might potentially be criminally liable for the Joe Biden no-brain scandal. Wow. Great good morning, everyone. My Picardo Jewelers watch tells me it's 11:11 here in the great Northeast. This beautiful Friday, July 18, 2025. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he. And it's a big day to fight for America, defend our values. And with the help of our man, John Basiliga, and the great properties of the Basiliga Hospitality Group, to honor the brave who have made us and kept us free. People like veterans we've lost this year but celebrate today. They would be Francis Catcher, Beaver Meadows, Robert Delescavage, Wilkes-Barre Township, John Butch Turpak, Scott Township, Kim Schooley, late of Manassas, Virginia, but she grew up in Wallenpaupack area, Jack Cosgrove, Pittston Township, and Joseph Levan, Bloomsburg. So, with history, our great founding fathers, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle, gaveling to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense. Somebody text in, well, a bunch of you text. Jimmy Fallon is the other goof. Here's my problem with Jimmy Fallon. He's harmless enough. You know, he's cute, he's funny, whatever. He's not that bright, but okay. But he had Trump on. And he did a thing with Trump messing his hair. And then he apologized for it because he normalized Donald Trump. So what, now you normalize Kamala Harris pretending she's actually knows what she's talking about? Yeah, so Jimmy Fallon, I got no truck for him either. But as somebody said, when one of our listeners, they say, when you alienate more than half your audience with left-wing hatred, then you get what you deserve, go woke, go broke. Well, he's far from broke. He deserves worse, by the way, but all he got is a cancellation in 10 months. Somebody else texted, I'm very close to a person who works for Colbert. They saw it coming. About a month ago, they had 3 guests get ticked off and walk off the show. Denzel Washington, Chuck Norris, and Ricky Gervais. Well, I've heard those stories. Like they said in The Godfather, yeah, I heard that story. I ain't no band leader. Hey, Brian Hughes sent me something that I want to mention. There's a lot of history at Berwick's Test Track Park. And the community will be honoring that history and taking a step back in time this weekend at its 8th annual World War II weekend. This is in Berwick. It features activities including vendors, entertainment, and mock battles with over 300 reenactors. There will be 4 Stuart tanks. They used to be made in Berwick, as well as other military vehicles. Berwick's World War II weekend is Friday through Sunday at Test Track Park. Man, that's something to go to. And they have that tour of the I guess it's a museum of the old Stuart tank facility where they built tanks. So great weekend in Berwick at Test Track Park. Hey, my man, and one of my, I never say favorite, but one of my favorite neighbors, John Kranicki, texts in, great book on Chappaquiddick by Leo Damore, LTS, Damore, Leo Damore. So if you don't get a chance to talk to David DeCosmo, check that out. And by the way, I'm talking about Gutfeld and his great show. One of the great people on it is a comedian by the name of Jamie Lissau, and he's on probably at least a couple times a week. And he does stand-up and everything. Well, I just found out that he's doing a fundraiser. Remember we had Jamie Walsh on yesterday, the state rep? Well, he's going to be there at Iram Temple Country Club, August 14th, for a fundraiser for Jamie Walsh. Wow, is that great? I'd love to have Lissau on. He's a very funny guy. I actually follow him on Instagram, and I don't follow very many people that don't wear bikinis on Instagram. So, yeah, Jamie Lissau, August 14th, he'll be here at Iram Temple Country Club, 5 to 9, fundraiser for Walsh for PA. That's our state representative, Jamie Walsh, who we just had on talking about Pennsylvania state budget. How great is that? And then again, don't forget, Friday through Sunday, Test Track Park. Now, I'm going to be occupied this weekend. And the reason is this. I may go out, I may not. But the British Open is on. And it starts at like 8 in the morning or earlier, the coverage, because they're 6 hours ahead in Scotland. So we'll see. But, man, I'm pumped about this Jamie Lissau appearance. What a great way to make politics fun again. So congratulations to Jamie Walsh for having Jamie Lissau come in. By the way, my man Nicky DeSantis, he reminds me, and I had the newspaper, which does report some actual interesting news, as much of a rag as it is. But the St. Anne's Novena starts. An article by Christine Lee. So that I'm telling you, it is amazing just to stop by. But I'll try to do the St. Anne's Novena. I did it when I was in prison. Every year I would do it for those days, and sometimes in addition to those days. So it starts today, and it'll end, I think, the 26th or 27th, which is St. Anne's Day. And it's a big deal. And they'll have the pilgrimage going from, I'm trying to remember where they start. Pittston, is it? And they'll literally walk to West Scranton to this thing. Amazing. By the way, somebody texted in, the British Open comes on at 4 a.m. Okay, probably on the Golf Channel, which I have. The weekend broadcast will be different, not on as early. I'm guessing 8 a.m. they'll come on, but maybe before that. But, I want to get up and watch that. I just love it. It's so relaxing to me. It's when I started to enjoy watching golf. Then after that, I enjoyed watching golf before I enjoyed playing. Cabinet guy was saying, Bob, did you ever think the networks tell the late night hosts what jokes to tell? ABC's a big liberal network. I don't think so. I think they're goofy on their own. Jimmy Kimmel, he's goofy on his own. And he's guilty about being a pig on The Man Show on MTV. There's a thing of him, a girl's doing something, and he's behind her dry humping her. Without her knowing. You know what I mean? Crazy. So he was a piece of spit before. Now he's a left-wing piece of spit, but he's accepted because of his nonsense. My man Mark, yes, he's listening on his way back from Harrisburg. He's laughing because I follow him on Instagram, and he never wore a bikini, but okay. Oh, yeah, I know. I didn't say I only, but the famous people or people I don't know, I only follow them if they look good in a bikini. I'm sorry. Somebody says, how do you get tickets for Jamie Walsh Lissau fundraiser? I don't. Do I know? I don't know. Contact Jamie Walsh's office, I guess. Yeah, believe me, that'll be fun. All right. I was thinking 19th, July 17th through the 26th. Thank you for the novena. Somebody texted in. I appreciate it. That's why I know I could just throw an idea out there. You guys will get it. You'll get it right and correct me if I'm wrong. I love that. Now, so I guess it's USA Network yesterday and today. Favorite term of the year, British Open. Yeah, I'm gonna when I go home after the program, I'm gonna try to turn it on immediately because I don't have to immediately watch the news. Like I couldn't watch it. Yes, I got to watch the news as soon as I get home. Somebody texts, not somebody. Joe from Westside texts in, Bob, LTS every day. Novena started yesterday, which is the 17th. I could see it from my house. Been there today and yesterday. So the British Open, a distant second to the amazing St. Anne's Novena. St. Anne, for those of you who are either not Catholic or not aware, that's the mother of our Blessed Virgin Mary. That's her mother. And she's honored, and the church in West Scranton has basilica status, which is a big deal in the Catholic Church. And I remember my parents taking us there as young kids, and I just remember it fondly. And to go, it just feels good. I promise you. If you go with the right spirit and just walk around the grounds, maybe stop into part of the mass, or just part of the service, or just go in and pray, I promise you'll feel better. I'm telling you, you'll feel better and feel good coming out of St. Anne's Novena. All right, we need to take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. The eponymous program rolls on. We're going to hear from our great sponsors, a little history, a little music, and then you at 570-883-0098. Now, I don't know if they were a one-hit wonder. Merv tells me that, and tells us, that on July 18th, 1970, Blues Image had moved up to number 6 with their hit, Ride, Captain, Ride. I have no idea what the words mean, nothing. I just think it's a cool, really good song. So good for Blues Image and whoever was in it. As I always often remind people, I was a no-hit wonder. So I'm very proud of one-hit wonders. And, of course, Detroit declaring bankruptcy 2013. You can only have, look at New York City. I mean, they can only bear so much incompetence for so long. Bloomberg, as much of a goof as he turned into, and as much of a nanny as he was, at least he was a very competent administrator. Now, he was fortunate to have followed on the heels of Rudy Giuliani's 2 terms, which actually turned the city around. Well, then after that, you got Bill de Blasio. I mean, Bo Dietl called him Big Bird for a reason. He was just a big left-wing goof. Not capable of, by no stretch, you wouldn't let him run a charity car wash. And then the current mayor, not much better, except that he woke up on some issues, mostly on immigration, because the reality was hitting him in the face and hitting New York City in the budget. But he's not a good mayor by any stretch. I'm for Curtis Sliwa. Give a guy who bleeds New York City a chance. You couldn't be any more incompetent than the people who preceded him. They're going to destroy the city. You put this communist in, New York City will be destroyed. I mean, that's absolute craziness. By the way, you'll hear a lot of VDH. We started after the weather in running some hits from different commentators and different news stories, and I know people enjoy it. I know I do. I think it really fills the show out, and so that's some of the things that I go really look for these things, and a lot of you, thank God, send them to me. Like Robin, a bunch of you. Gary, Duncan, all those. A lot of great people sending me stuff, and I appreciate it. And that's what makes the show. That's why I'm not kidding, and I'm not being falsely self-deprecating when I say LTS or ALTS back at you. You guys make the show. You really do. That's why I love hanging around with you. That's why I'm not too happy that it's a Friday. That means we don't get to hang around, and by the way, then it's only by God's will until Monday. Well, my Picardo Jewelers watch tells me that it's 11:32 and change. So we'll take this break, hear from our great sponsors. We'll come back with the Veterans Tribute, the weather, and then you at 570-883-0098. Our Veterans Tribute this hour and every hour. This day and every day. Brought to you by our friend John Basiliga. And since it's the weekend, we're going to highlight one of his companies, Basiliga Hospitality. And I group them together because they're all amazing and all worth checking out and just going as a repeat visitor. 3 bar restaurants, the Old Brook Inn, 307 Springbrook Township. Far Street Tavern on Far Street in the Great Trips Park section of West Scranton. And then downtown Oliphant. It'll never be the same. It'll always be better. Queen City Tavern. I love that place. Fine dining? Oh, yeah, we got that too. Atera 519. Class of restaurants. I was there last Friday night with my parents and the Martins. It was fabulous. I just love being there. Then you go below like we did to Sergei's, the nightclub. Amazing. They'll be hopping tonight. And you want to go back a century? Even a little more. Fine dining amidst history. The Stegmeyer Mansion, South Franklin Street, Wilkes-Barre. Top stealth stuff. You want to check out a movie? Guess what? Best place to see one? Have your adult beverage or your non-adult beverage. And great food. Scranton Art House, downtown Scranton, first-run movie theater. Amazing places. John Jack Cosgrove. We lost him June 22nd. He was 89. He was from Pittston Township. Born in Pittston Township, graduate of Pittston Central Catholic High School. He was a proud U.S. Navy veteran. He served us in the Korean War. He was stationed on several ships, but his favorite was the USS Wisconsin. He retired from Harper and Row Publishing Company, Dunmore, and then from the Luzerne County Voter Registration Services. Another of our great veterans, a fourth-degree Assembly Knights of Columbus, John F. Kennedy Council, Pittston. Also a member of the Greater Pittston Friendly Sons of St. Patrick, Planning Commission and Pittston Township for over 20 years. Longtime member of St. John the Evangelist Church and a member of the American Legion Post, Trumansburg, New York. In addition to his parents, he was preceded in death by his wife, Mary, back in 2015. They were married for 50 years. Survived by his daughters, grandchildren, many other family members, including great-grandchildren. Jack Cosgrove. Joseph Levan. He was an electrician. He was from Bloomsburg. We lost him at age 82, June 15th. Born in Bloomsburg, 1960, graduate of Bloomsburg High School. He'd been a resident of the Buckhorn area for most of his life. He worked as an electrician for the Howard Corporation, and then before retiring at the Bloomsburg Fair, he proudly served this country, serving us in the U.S. Air Force. Member of the Buckhorn United Methodist Church, also a member of the Valley of Bloomsburg, Post 273 American Legion, and the VFW in Bloomsburg. In addition to his parents, he was preceded in death by a sister, Pat. Surviving are his 2 children, 3 grandchildren, a great-grandson, and 5 siblings. Joseph Levan. Our great veterans this hour brought to you by John Basiliga and Basiliga Hospitality. Storm Tracker 16 forecast from meteorologist Joe Snedeker. Today, sunny, less humid, and cooler. 78 degrees the high. I don't think we're going to get there because it's only 69 outside the studios today. Refreshing coolness. Tonight, partly cloudy down to 57. Saturday, sunny with a chance of thunderstorms developing late in the evening, high 85. Sunday, clouds with showers and thunderstorms, some partial clearing in the afternoon, high 85. So I met a guy at the you guys may remember this, that amazing play put on by ARC. I don't know if they call it the Associated Retarded Citizens. If that's what ARC stands for, but I know with political correctness, maybe that word is not operative anymore. I don't know. But they are the most beautiful people on the planet. Anyway, run into this guy. He listens to the show, and he says, we got to go for a cigar sometime. I said, I'm in. And he said, he'll drive me down to the cigar place in Drums. All right, so I'm gonna put that in the pipe. We may do it. I can't do it today because I've got silly Chauncey with me. But so he said, Bob, I would completely agree that it's better to be great at something once, if only for a short time, than never at all. That's why I'm with these one-hit wonders. Whether they were lucky, whether they were good, all of that. Great stuff. So you guys hear me brag about Picardo's. It is not only a fabulous jewelry store, and they've been around forever. I've known these guys for, I don't know, it seems like my whole life, but certainly my entire adult life. And it is a family business. I love going in there. You could have a coffee, you could have a cocktail, and just check out a beautiful store on Jefferson Avenue and Spruce Street in downtown Scranton. It's fabulous. So I persuaded. I said, Alex Picardo, he does these. I've done some Picardo commercials. And I said, Alex, I got to be honest. I don't want to talk myself out of anything, but you do a better commercial than me. So I said, Alex, come on once a week. We'll talk watches. We'll talk jewelry, whatever you want. And here he is, our man, Alex Picardo. How are you, Alex?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm great. Hey, first of all, for next week's appearance, you gotta think of a theme song.
Okay.
For either the store, yourself, whatever, and so that you're worthy of a theme song, so we got to give you one.
I appreciate it. Do you want like a one-hit wonder type song?
No, whatever floats your boat. Whatever floats your boat. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, we'll bring Butch into that one. He'll love that.
Yeah. Hey, so tell me, what's happening at Picardo Jewelers today and this weekend?
Well, we actually called on a perfect day. Breitling, as you know, is one of my biggest watch brands in the store. Mm-hmm. And what's cool is over our when we did the remodeling, we've become more of just a dealer. We are now a boutique, as they call it in today's world. Mm-hmm. What's cool about that is I get pieces now that I was never able to get. So yesterday I was in Connecticut all day, actually at the factory, and I was lucky enough to get what they just released today, the Meteorite dial in 18-karat gold and silver.
Wow.
The one in 18-karat special because there's only 65 in the United States, and that's it, and I have one here right now.
How about
including the steel pieces. And the steel pieces, there's only 250 made. So it's a Meteorite dial. It's over 400 million years old or something, they said. But it's very unique. No two faces are the same. It's just something special. And to be in Scranton, I'm very honored with that because normally these are only in big cities or, the guys that I can never compete with. But I have it. And it's a really cool historic watch that I think people should come in and see and try on. And, you're actually able to buy it.
I'm talking with Alex Picardo from Picardo Jewelers, downtown Scranton. I always tell my Picardo watch story. So I go in to your store way back when, and I pack my pocket full of cash. So I'm looking. You guys have nobody, and I mean nobody has a better selection of high-end watches than you guys. But you've got them in all price points, all price ranges. So I'm looking at and I know I believe I've told you the story before, but I'm looking at these high-end watches. How much is that? How much is that? Okay, they were pricey, but they were, the value. And I happen to turn around. It's in the old store, and I go, "Wow, look at this watch. That's pretty neat." And I don't remember which of the brothers it was, but he said, well, that's a fine timepiece also. I said, look, it says Picardo on it.
Yes.
He goes,
And
I said,
it's
how
a
much?
Swiss movement, by the way.
Yes.
That's important.
So I said, how much is it? And I think at the time, this is 20 years ago. He goes, oh, it's $189. I guess what? I said, I'll take two. So I'm at
even now,
yeah.
I make sure that no matter who comes in here, I have a price point for everybody.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that store where someone's afraid to come in. Like you said, you come in, have a cup of coffee, sit down, relax, and get a vibe from us. People might think we're a high-end place. Come in and just check it out. We're different. We're not your normal jewelry store.
Yeah.
We want to be down to earth and get like a family feel when you come in.
Well, I go to dinner with Bo Dietl and all his buddies. So they've got their watches. And now, by the way, had heard of Picardo. So you guys are on the map with real watch people because they all were.
Awesome.
They're crazy about watches. So anyway, they're saying, well, this watch was, and I mean it, $150,000. This watch was this. Mine was $80,000. This, and I go, oh, I've got a watch. And I tell that Picardo watch story to them.
That's awesome.
I was the most popular guy at dinner.
Listen, it doesn't matter if you spend $1 million or if you spend $100. A watch tells a story, and I have a lot of customers that have watches of that amount, and they wear a G-Shock every day or a Seiko.
Yeah.
And they're very happy with this. Seiko makes one of the best probably watches on the market, in my opinion, and we are one of the only dealers in the East Coast with the Prospect line. So I invest a lot into them, and they're a great company.
Oh, and I don't even have them on the list. That's number 8 on the list of brands you got, Seiko.
Yeah.
Yeah, neat.
Mm-hmm.
I had a Seiko watch from you guys that lasted me for 30 years. 30 years.
They'll never die. A Seiko watch is something you could pass down from generations. They're a good, very reasonable watch that you never have to worry about. Automatics to a quartz piece, whatever you want, they have it.
Well, this Breitling news is a big deal. And
it's a very big deal.
Yeah.
And I'm very proud of that. I worked hard on that, and it's tough. I'm a small guy, and in this new world, they just want their own boutiques and their own places to go. And I'm fortunate enough to be one of the last little guys around. But we invest a lot of our own money into this, and if you come in, you'll see what I'm talking about, and you'll see our new show, and you'll our new showroom, and you'll see the Breitling boutique that we put in, and it's something to be amazed. A watch is more than just a name. You have to appreciate what goes into them, the time. Yeah. They're all handmade. Breitling's done full 100% in-house. It's an amazing brand, and as are my other brands. But to have something like this, especially the meteorite in the gold, think about that. There's 65 pieces in the entire country. That's it. And I have one here.
That's amazing stuff.
Yeah, you never know.
And Picardo Jewelers earned that right. I will say that. Well, Alex, thank you. I look forward to talking to you next week. You'll tell me what else is happening at Picardo Jewelers.
Absolutely.
Have a great weekend. I may be by for a cocktail or a coffee this weekend.
I would love that. I'm here.
All right, my friend. Alex Picardo, Picardo Jewelers. We'll take a break. We'll be back. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. Is that Wolfman Jack or just some guy? I always thought it was Wolfman Jack. But it's the Pipkins, Murph says. This is why Murph's great at this. I would never have thought of this song. This date, 1970, though. It moved into the top 10 charts at number 9. Give me that thing. By the way, we're finishing today with Three Dog Night, one of my favorite bands. And it was the number 1 hit this date, 1970. We'll play it in full. I've got to talk over it, but it's a great song nevertheless. Mama Told Me. Mama Told Me. All right. So we're going to make we'll get this done. We're going to get this cigar place thing done. Somehow, some way. Bob LTS, you didn't mention that the CEO who was caught yellow-handed cheating at Coldplay. I feel bad for the guy. And wrong, of course. I'm not even trying to pretend. But come on, give us a break here. And he wasn't like he was flouting. Well, I guess he was flaunting it in everybody's face. I don't know. So he got caught red-handed. For those of you who didn't seen the story or the video, and it has gone wild. The guy's hugging the girl watching Coldplay. They have a kiss cam. And they put it on him, which looks like he's up in the upper decks. And now he's got a problem. A lot of suggestions for Alex Picardo's theme song, including Shine On, You Crazy Diamond. And another, I don't know what this one is, Boxcar theme song, either Pink Floyd's Shine On or Crazy Diamond or Time. Okay. Yeah. That was the song I was going to pick from. If Alex is listening, how about Chicago? Does anybody really know what time it is? That's not a bad one. Bulldog, that'll be his theme song unless he tells us otherwise. All right? For Alex Picardo. Love that store. Hey, quickly, Babylon Bee. They got 9 movies that should be part of the biblical canon. Let's see what this says. I do love my Babylon Bee. Number 1, The Matrix. Number 2, Robot Jocks. I don't even know most of the movies. The Raiders of the Lost Ark. Okay, I get it. Not up to their usual standards, frankly. Another one, Bible scholars now believe the 7th seal in the book of the Revelation is the full release of the Epstein list. Israel levels Sesame Street with targeted airstrikes. And then another, UK Muslims demand voting age be lowered to 13 so their wives can vote. And another, terrifying study reveals there are still people getting vaccinated for COVID. Another, winning. Trump announces Mexican Coke will now be made in America. And then finally, man's life going so well, he has to find stuff on the internet to get angry about. The Babylon Bee. My man Mark Mayer's on the Williamsburg Bridge. He goes to the Brick out on Long Island, but he lives in Lower Manhattan. And he's in the crosshairs of this insane potential mayor. Hey, we got a couple things to do, and I'm way past time. Number 1, Policeman's Prayer. For my man, Nicky DeSando. Policeman's Prayer. Lord, bless the ones who wear the badge, the ones who walk the beat. Protect and keep them safe while they are on the street. As they wait and as they watch, doing good for all, guide their minds and give them strength for each and every call. Ready to put their lives on the line? Give them courage each day. Let them know you're always there in each and every way. So bless the ones who wear the badge. Protect them from harm. Always keep them safe and in your loving arms. Amen. Tomorrow never comes. Norma Cornett Merrick found it in the obit for a sweet woman by the name of Doreen Goriab, who died about 3 years ago. Just reminding you, use the weekend well. Reach out. It's if I knew it would be the last time that I'd see you walk out the door, I'd give you a hug and kiss and call you back for just one more. If I knew it would be the last time, I would spare an extra minute or two to stop and say I love you instead of assuming you know I do. So just in case tomorrow never comes and today is all I get, I'd like to say how much I love you. I hope we will never forget. Tomorrow is not promised to anyone, young or old alike. And today may be the last chance you get to hold your loved one tight. So if you're waiting for tomorrow, why not do it today? For if tomorrow never comes, you'll surely regret the day that you didn't take that extra time for a smile, a hug, or a kiss, and you were too busy to grant someone what turned out to be their final wish. So hold your loved ones close today and whisper in their ear that you love them very much and you'll always hold them dear. Take time to say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, or it's okay. And if tomorrow never comes, you'll have no regrets about today. Well, my Bacardo Jewelers watch says it's 12:02, but I've got to thank our veterans who we lost and honored today, like Jack Cosgrove, Pittston Township, Francis Catcher, Beaver Meadows, Robert Delascavage, Wilkes-Barre Township, John Butch Turpak, Scott Township, Kim Schooley, Lada, Virginia, but Wallenpaupack area, and Joseph Levan, Bloomsburg. Guys, have a great weekend. Be safe. Be at peace. And God willing, I'll be with you Monday. But for now, we gavel to a close this meeting of the Club for Common Sense. Saying adios. Somebody said Diamonds Are Forever should be the Bacardo store song. That's another good one. Love it. Have a great one.